You pick up your phone before your eyes are fully open. Not because anything important happened, not because you were expecting a message, just because the pull is there, quiet and automatic, the moment consciousness returns. Your thumb moves before your brain has decided anything about the day. You check, you scroll, you put the phone down, and then, without thinking, you pick it up again. This is not weakness. This is not a character flaw or a failure of discipline, and it is not even a modern problem. The reason you cannot stop checking your phone is approximately 200,000 years old. It has nothing to do with the phone. It has everything to do with the brain that came before it. Most people blame themselves. They call it a bad habit, a lack of willpower, an addiction they cannot seem to kick. Some blame the apps, some blame the companies, and they are not entirely wrong, but they are missing the deeper layer. The phone did not create this impulse. The phone was engineered to exploit something your brain was already doing long before Silicon Valley existed. Your brain is a novelty detection machine. It has been since before you were born, before your parents were born, before civilization existed at all. For most of human history, your ancestors moved through landscapes where every unfamiliar sound, every shift in the wind, every unexpected movement in the grass could carry information that was genuinely life or death. A rustle might mean a predator. A new smell might mean food. A change in the sky might mean a storm. The members of your species who noticed new things and reacted to them survived. The ones who became comfortable, who stopped scanning, who ignored novelty, did not leave as many descendants. This is not a metaphor. This is the architecture of your nervous system. Attention to novelty was selected for over hundreds of thousands of years because it was one of the most reliable predictors of survival. And then, in 1997, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schulz made a discovery that changed how we understand everything that follows from that architecture. Schulz was studying dopamine in monkeys. He had set up a simple system. A light would flash, and then a few seconds later, a drop of juice would appear. What he expected to find was that dopamine fired when the juice arrived. That was the reward. That was where he assumed the brain would signal pleasure. What he found instead was that dopamine fired when the light appeared, not when the juice arrived. Before. At the moment of anticipation, not the moment of satisfaction. And once the monkeys learned to expect the juice after the light, if the juice did not arrive, dopamine did not simply stay flat. It dropped below baseline. The brain experienced the absence of the expected reward as something worse than having never expected it at all. Dopamine is not a pleasure chemical. Dopamine is an anticipation chemical. Your brain does not release dopamine because something good happened. It releases dopamine because something good might happen. The pull you feel toward the phone is not the satisfaction of finding something interesting. It is the expectation that you might. And your brain has been running this exact circuit for 200,000 years. Kent Berridge, a neuroscientist at the University of Michigan, spent decades separating what he called wanting from liking. Wanting is dopaminergic. Wanting is the pull, the compulsion, the urge to check. Liking is what happens after, if anything worth finding arrives. And here is the uncomfortable part. Your brain can want something intensely that it does not actually like. You already know this feeling. You scroll through content that does not interest you. You check your phone and find nothing meaningful, then check again 90 seconds later. The wanting keeps firing. The liking rarely arrives. And the wanting does not care. It was never designed to require satisfaction. It was designed to keep you looking. Think about the last time you opened an app, found nothing interesting, closed it, and opened it again 30 seconds later. That was not you failing to resist the temptation. That was your dopamine system running exactly as designed, searching, not finding, and searching again because in the ancestral world, searching again was always worth it. In the ancestral world, this made sense. Novelty was rare and meaningful. When something new appeared in your environment, it almost always carried information worth having. The lion was actually there. The stranger approaching the camp was a real social signal. The weather was actually changing. B.F. Skinner discovered something important about this in the mid-20th century, working with pigeons. He found that the most powerful way to maintain any behavior was not to reward it consistently. It was to reward it unpredictably. When pigeons received a food pellet every time they pressed a lever, the behavior was easy to extinguish. When they received it sometimes, randomly, with no pattern they could learn, the behavior became almost impossible to stop. They pressed the lever with increasing intensity, even when no reward came for a long time. This is called a variable reward schedule. And it is the exact mechanism your phone uses on you, not accidentally, but by design. You feel this the moment a notification appears before you know what it says. Your brain fires before you unlock the screen. The anticipation, is it important? Is it from someone I care about? Is the mechanism itself. Sometimes what you find matters. Often it does not. The unpredictability is not a flaw in the system, it is the system. Aza Raskin invented infinite scroll, the feature that removed the natural stopping point from every feed on your phone. There used to be a bottom of the page. Loading the next page required an action, a moment of friction that gave your brain a chance to ask whether you actually wanted to continue. Raskin eliminated that pause. He later said he had not intended to cause harm, but that the mechanism he created was, in his own words, a slot machine in your pocket. He estimated that infinite scroll costs roughly 200,000 hours of human attention every single day. He said he was sorry. But the machine does not require remorse to keep working. It keeps working because it mimics something your brain was already built to do. Robin Dunbar, an anthropologist at Oxford, has shown that the human brain evolved to manage stable social relationships with roughly 150 people, the size of the group your ancestors actually lived in. Within that group, monitoring your social standing was not vanity. It was survival. Your brain is still running that monitoring system now, applied to a network of billions, curated by algorithms designed to maximize the time you spend watching. Robert Sapolsky, who has spent his career studying stress and human behavior, has pointed out that humans are uniquely capable of triggering full physiological stress responses through anticipation and imagination alone. You do not just check the phone. Before you check, you imagine what might be there. The dopamine fires in anticipation of checking before your thumb even moves. The wanting begins with the thought, not the action. You are running ancient survival software in an environment that was specifically engineered to trigger it without offering any of the genuine information that software was built to process. Understanding this does not make the pull disappear. Knowing the mechanism does not stop the next time you reach for the phone without meaning to. But something changes when you understand what is actually happening. You are not failing to resist a simple temptation. Your ancestors who compulsively scanned the horizon stayed alive because the horizon sometimes contained something real. You compulsively check the phone because the phone was designed to feel exactly like a horizon. It just does not contain the same things. Tonight, when you find yourself picking up your phone before you have decided to, before you have even thought about it, your brain will be doing exactly what it has done for 200,000 years. Checking the environment, listening for the signal, looking for the thing that might matter. You were already like this. The phone just learned how to sound like the grass. If this made something click, the first video on this channel is where it started. It is called What If We Are Still Living in the Stone Age? It builds the foundation for everything we just talked about. Link is in the description. The next video goes somewhere connected. If dopamine explains why you cannot stop scrolling, it also explains why you cannot start the thing you have been putting off for weeks. The same system. A different consequence. Subscribe if you want to understand your brain the way it actually works, not the way anyone told you it does.